Front wigs, half wigs, full wigs, hairband wigs, whole wigs. Hey guys, how you doing? Welcome back to Wigging Out with Ivy Eville. Today we're going to talk about my journey with alopecia. To start, I've had alopecia for about 13 years. Yeah, I guess you could say about 13, 14 years. And it started right after I had, well, it started like a year after I had my oldest son. People ask questions all the time about what alopecia is and everything, and I found out that so many people have some form of it that it's not as uncommon as I thought. So just gonna go through, talk about it, talk about how it affected me, and hope you guys learned something and hope it pushes you to just kind of like be more comfortable in your own skin. To start, alopecia is actually an autoimmune disease where your cells attack your hair follicles. Nobody knows why it chooses to attack your hair follicles, but it does. And it happens actually in people of all ages, but mostly it starts before the age of 30. And I gotta say, I wasn't 30 yet when it hit me, but I know people who have had alopecia since they were probably 8 or 9. So it happens at all ages. I also know someone who is struggling with it now and she's 60. So like I said, it happens to a whole lot of people. It's more hereditary than I actually thought it was. I have a family member who has alopecia, and I learned, get this, I learned that if you have alopecia, more than likely you have someone, a family member that's really close to you that's gonna struggle with some type of autoimmune disease as well. And so like my son has a little touch of pigmentation problem, which is actually like a form of vitiligo, which is also an autoimmune disease. So it hits in different ways and touches different things, but with me, it was with the hair on my head. I do have hair everywhere else, but mine is not complete alopecia of the head. My hair still grows like around here on the edges and in the back. And I just got tired of shampooing the back of my head and braiding this little patch. I look like I had what that, they call it a mullet, except for I was bald and then had just this long tail like halfway down my back. And I was like, you know, this is ridiculous. Why am I shampooing her and greasing her and braiding her up to stick her up under a wig every day? So I just decided from then on to just cut it off. And I just keep it down with like hair removal or stuff like that, just because I'm finally comfortable in my bald head. So I figured I'd just wear it all the way, all the time if I can, especially in this hot weather. What else can I tell you about alopecia? There are a few types of alopecia. There's alopecia areata, which is what I have, which is when it's just like parts of your head. It starts as patches. It's not always as extreme as mine. And like probably, I don't know, there's a high percentage of people who, if they have alopecia areata, their hair can grow back with no problem. So, I mean, there's still hope for some of you all who have spots. There's also an Areata Universalis and an Areata Totalis, I believe it is. And that's when like, Totalis is when there's like no hair on your whole body. But for me, like I said, it's alopecia areata, and I can't even say I'm struggling with it now because I just accepted it and grew to love myself in it, because everybody has their own story. So that's the basics of the alopecia. Now, let's get into the nitty-gritty of it. So like I stated before, I noticed the alopecia with me when my son turned about a year old. It was at his birthday party, and there was videos and stuff, and I went back to review the video just to watch and enjoy, because of course, you know, doing birthday parties, you're so busy, you don't really know what's going on. And I noticed when I went past the camera, I saw my whole top of my head up under my hair. It was so thin. And I was like, why didn't anybody tell me I was going bald? I just know that my family loved me so much that they didn't want to say anything. But it really struck me hard. I was like, oh my goodness. And so I tried different things like covering my head up with ponytails and stuff. But it got to the point that when I was putting my hair up in ponytails, all of this up here was so thin that you could see my scalp anyway. So that was a tough adjustment. I didn't know at the time, but like a year before that, like I had like my scalp was super itchy, and I was getting scalp treatments with like shampoos and stuff like that, certain shampoos and conditioners, because I just couldn't stop this itching and this dryness and stuff like that. And my beautician, she was so great. She tried to help me out, you know, but then after I had my son, you know, cut to a year later after having my son, or maybe 2 years later, well, my hair fell out. It just didn't grow back. And my beautician told me that it was alopecia. And she tried to work with me with doing different type of hair systems. They are so expensive. Geez, like $300 to $500 for like a piece. It looks like a toupee. And they just shave out the part that has like, you know, like your hair is super thin so that the glue adheres to it. And like I was like in the beauty salon downstairs in the basement, in like in a separate room so people wouldn't stare at me because I was uncomfortable. And I mean, it was 3 layers of glue and then the piece, and then she would cut and style. And I'm gonna add some pictures so you all can see him. It was cute though. Nobody would have knew I had alopecia after that, but just the time it took and the toll it took on me, and the money, oh my goodness. Cause like every time I had it redone, cause I think every time I had to have it redone, it was like $150. So it's like every 3 months, it was $150 to have it taken off, put back on, go through this whole process all over again. And I still had to buy a new system eventually. So by the time it was time for a new system, I just said, forget it. I'll go to wigs. And ooh, that wig journey was rough, okay? I had some wigs on my head. I was mad at myself. And during the time, I know I was just trying to, you know, get into, you know, the swing of things, being comfortable. So I started this album on YouTube, not YouTube, on Facebook. And it was like the mini heads of me. And whoo, them heads is scary. But I mean, it's a journey. When you start wearing wigs, you're not gonna get it right on the first try. I mean, sometimes I still don't get it right, and I've been wearing them for a long time now. So that was that. It did affect me emotionally to lose my hair, because when you have alopecia, and it seems like it's so sudden. When you have alopecia and you're just like, what happened to my hair? And my hair is my glory. And you know, this is what makes me me. You know, this is my crown, so to speak. And it was gone. I didn't want to look in the mirror anymore. So when I looked in the mirror, I didn't even like what I saw. So I just stopped looking. I didn't want to see the bald spots. I didn't want to see me in the ugly wigs. I didn't want to see me because I pretty much had to relearn who I was. As a single mother, not having hair, not being sure of who you are anymore, how do you date? Because if you don't like yourself or love yourself, then how is anybody else supposed to like you or love you? So when I say that it broke me down all the way to the basics again, I had to be rebuilt. That took a whole bunch of time and a whole bunch of God. It wasn't until I started taking selfies that I started to try to build myself back up, okay? I would take 5,000 selfies in a day and pick one and be like, oh yeah, that's a good one. And I had every filter you can think of, slimmer face, fix the hair. So I was focusing here so that I wouldn't have to worry about what was up here. Because I knew if I had on a wig, that was gonna be fine, but everything else had to be together. And it was filter after filter on top of filter. And little by little, I had to take less pictures to get a good one. And then all of a sudden, I was like, let me see what it looks like with the filter off. And I was like, oh, cool. Oh, you really can't tell if I got a filter on or not. And that's when I started to see me. But that was just on the outside. In the midst of taking pictures and everything, I was still working on the inside because it's a self-esteem. I mean, that takes a big hit to your self-esteem, not having hair on your head. I mean, I had hair down my back forever. I mean, how do you go from having hair down here to not having any at all? So it did take a toll at first. I did work my way back up. I honestly was not 100% comfortable in myself and my look until it'd be 2 years in July. I was going to a birthday cruise and it was in Chicago and it was supposed to be hot and sunny. And I said, you know what? I'm not wearing a wig. That's it. It's done. I'm going in my earrings and my makeup and my cute outfit. And I'm just gonna be comfortable in being me. And what I didn't account for was that I was gonna be on the water and that it was gonna be breezy and my head was gonna get chilled. So it was a nice but chilly first experience. So I learned that even though I love my bald head, I can't wear it in every weather and every situation. But that's when I really started to realize too that the wigs that I wear became an accessory. It wasn't an extension of me anymore. And so that was a great thing for me. I took some really good pictures that day too because she was a photographer there and she's awesome. So she captured it all. So I'm happy that I had pictures of my coming out, so to speak, you know, like, hey, this is me, this is Ivy, you know, the bald head, yep, that's mine. Yeah, she's cute too because I had bronze hair and everything. She was sparkling and glistening. Ooh, I was looking good. So that's when it started to feel better. But honestly, it was still tough to try to date. Like I had been bald for 10 years by then. It took that long for me to get comfortable and to accept me for me. And it's different for everybody. Some people can snap back and be like, oh well, I just wasn't those because I was always so timid. But it also helped bring out my personality because I had to be me beyond what everybody saw, you know. And so I really do appreciate when people say, you have such a good heart, you have such a good spirit, oh, you're so sweet, you're so kind, you know, because those things are what matter. One thing that really, oh my goodness, it eats me up, and I'm gonna tell y'all this. I ain't knocking nobody out there, guys, love you bunches. But like when I started dating, the first thing people would say is, oh, I love your hair. Or you have pretty hair. What are you? You Polynesian or something? Or what are you mixed with? And I would be like, I guess I should probably take that as a compliment because that means I'm really slaying this wig right now. But I really wanted people to see past that. Like, can't you comment on anything else? You know, but that was the part, like, I would say, oh gosh, people are so vain. But in reality, I was too at first, because all I was focused on was what I was presenting to the world on the outside. And it really took to see, you know, what was on the inside. Like they say, you know, cliche or not, honestly, it's on the inside what matters. So my journey, although it was long and sometimes gruesome, that's just what it is. It's a journey. I found out over the last 13 years that telling people about alopecia, helping people overcome it, helping build self-esteem, that was part of my purpose, which is almost, well, that's kind of why I started my YouTube channel to begin with. It wasn't just to do wig reviews. It was to show people that you can do other things. You can live within your situation. You can still smile. You can still be beautiful. You can still accessorize with the baddest wigs out there, or the cheapest wigs too. But it's not about how you dress it. It's all about what you're dressing up. So, I just want to be helpful. I want to let people know that not having hair isn't the end of the world. It's actually the beginning of a whole new one, as I'm finding out. I did some research on alopecia and found out some really weird stuff. And I think, but the one thing that I couldn't find in researching alopecia was where the support groups were, what kind of help I could get or could tell people about. So I'm still in the midst of doing that. But I think the best thing that came out of having alopecia for me is the fact that it was, as they say, a test, but turned into a testimony. I was able to help so many people. I was put in a situation where my hair fell out and I felt horrible, but ended up getting a job where I had to help other people who felt horrible about how they looked. I ended up working at a beauty salon at the wig counter, and I met so many people who were facing hair loss, and it wasn't always alopecia, but a lot of the time it was. And so I was able to pour into them, and they were able to pour into me. So God put me in the right positions at the right time. For those who want to know, have I tried to grow my hair back? No. By the time I thought about trying to grow my hair back, they have all these little things that you can buy over the counter, or you can go into a dermatologist and see if they can do something, but over the counter stuff helps for small patches. So I was too far gone by then. And then I don't like needles. And all I kept reading about was injections. And I was like, I'm not about to have nobody stabbing me in my head, and there's no guarantee that my hair can grow back, because there's no cure for alopecia. It's so many things that cause it. So I stopped looking. I was like, I'm not gonna worry about it. I was like, why don't I just try to, mend my heart, mend my self-esteem, and do that, cure myself on the inside, because then outside don't matter at all. So that's what I'm projecting to you all today, is just love yourself. Definitely love the skin you're in, and work with what you have. India Irie said it best: I am not my hair, and I'm sure not, but they sure look good on me. So you guys have a great day. Thank you so much for hanging out with me and learning about my journey with alopecia. I love you all. See you next time. Bye.